Amer Harris Jeffrey is another example of young sporting talent we have in abundance in Malaysia, this time in motorsports. Winner of the Porsche Carerra Cup Asia 2025 Talent Pool selection, Amir is destined for greater podium success in his growing career. Learn what it takes to make it, good and bad. Amer Harris, share your point of view. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cuba Cerita. This is a lovely opportunity again for a couple of reasons. Number one, we are doing a shoot on location where my guest is mainly every day. Obviously you can hear the sound and you can see the setting. So we are at Wing Hing Motorsports Center in Balakong, Cheras. And on this occasion, it's an opportunity to introduce to you all another young up-and-coming Malaysian sports talent. And his name is Amer Harris. He's someone that I really am proud to say is Malaysian, has done very well. So please join me in welcoming Amer. How are you, Amer?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you for having me here.
You're most welcome. Amer, jangan nervous, okay? You are a car driver. Yes. So we've taken you out of the comfort of your secure place behind the wheel to come and share a few moments with Uncle this morning. Yeah.
For sure.
So to begin with, I mean, maybe I should really just introduce you in a more formal way so that people know who you are. I mean, as many motorsports drivers, you started in go-karting from a very young age, But what I've read about you is that, even as a young go-karter, you were 3 times Asia champion. You've had more than 18 or so, wins. And then you moved on into, what do you call it? Touring cars?
Touring cars. I made my move in Formula 4 first.
Formula 4?
So it was Formula cars. And I had a break and then I went to touring cars.
Wow. And I've seen your track record already, You've won so many titles from the Sepang 1000 kilometers to the Toyota Gazoo, Malaysia, Formula 4, Southeast Asia, Thailand Super Series, and more recently you even caught the attention of PMX when you won the Hyundai N Cup in Zhuhai, China.
Yes.
Wow. This is amazing. Now, I know you are continuing to be the driver for Wing Hing Motorsports, and that's great that Wing Hing have actually sponsored you all these years. But I also want to note another accolade. You won the Porsche Carrera Asia Cup Asia 2025 Talent Pool.
Yes. So I will be one of the Porsche junior drivers for this year.
And you're the only Malaysian, you're the first Malaysian.
I'm the first Malaysian to get this opportunity. Yeah.
How old are you, Amer?
I'm 22 this year.
22. Okay.
So I'm born in year 2003.
Alright. So, one thing that the reason I wanted to interview you was because I'm quite fascinated by young talent, obviously. But those who choose to excel in their chosen field, it can be anything, sports, even profession. You are a professional. But more importantly, I'm very interested to understand the person behind all of that.
Yeah. And
hopefully this will be an impetus for others who are interested. They may be parents of children or young and up and coming talent itself who is looking to excel in their chosen profession. So tell me a bit more. I know your parents, but tell me a bit more about who is Amer. I mean, were you like a quiet child? Were you like, behind the screen? What was it like growing up for you?
Well, okay. I mean, for starters, I was just a kid that was obsessed with toy cars.
Toy cars.
Yeah. So I think ever since I was a little kid, like when I was 2 or 3 years old, my room is just filled with toy cars.
Okay.
And one brand that particularly stood out to me was Tomica, because it's a brand from Japan and they cater to most of Japanese domestic market cars. Okay. And you know how Japan has box arts. It's like very appealing to you as a kid.
Okay.
I think that really ignited that spark in me into cars. And then at school, I mean, not many kids back then were into cars. I mean, I think now is a ongoing trend. I mean, cars is the way to go now. But back then it was just football, badminton.
I can
So
imagine.
I was the quiet kid in the class, and I was like, left out. But
see.
I loved it. I loved cars because I think it's the only thing that driving cars, racing go-karts. I think it was the only thing that I wanted to do since I was a child. The only thing that I thought I was good at. I mean, it's a way of life for me. My passion is burning. Even my dad is a car guy as well. So he also fueled the spark.
Okay.
But for me, I think I kind of forced him into this way because he's into cars but not motorsports. So I think when we started karting together, my dad brought me to Shah Alam. Sadly, they are closing down this week. It will be one of their last operation days.
Okay.
So Shah Alam is the place where I started my journey. And with my dad and his friends, so they were all together, their car groups, so I would join them and I would be the little kid that bullies all the uncles.
All the uncles and all the adults.
I mean, coming on from there, I mean, karting is an expensive sport. I made my way up in this ART Asia Talent Cup.
Okay.
So this was a championship where everyone were driving the same karts and it was from the same organizer. So the goal of this championship was basically to nurture more talents. And thankfully in that championship I came second. So for the following year in 2015 I got a free drive for the Asian Championship.
Wow.
In the cadet category. So that was with Nizra Motorsport. With Mr. Muhammad Roy Rijas, which I owe him a lot for my journey. He supported me from the beginning. Since I was in cadet all the way to when I was in senior class in karting. So I think that's about like 9 or 8 years of racing. So he supported me all the way from the beginning.
And these are just individuals.
Yes.
Who have just got a passion.
Yes. Yeah. So
Mashallah.
basically, they're like, "Oh, you can drive. I want you to drive for my team. I want you to represent my name, my brand, so that you can bring more customers in."
Wow.
Because in this day of age, racing is a very pay-to-play kind of sport. And to be on the top, you have to pay the top level kind of money.
Right.
So the team that I was in, Mr. Roy Rijas, he runs Double R Motorsport now.
I see.
So he's one of the top Asian karting teams right now. And he's the official dealer for Paralin, which is a brand from Italy. So basically, he's the factory team of Paralin in Asia.
I see.
So actually, Mr. E just didn't start off with Paralin, and we gave it a shot. And Alhamdulillah, it got up to where it is now. And Paralin Asia is very big through our successes.
So, I mean, again, I'm not totally familiar with this sport. I love cars too, but I'm not as a fast driver. But I read a lot about the Lewis Hamiltons of this world. All of them, katakan, they go all the way up to Formula One, katakan, and it always starts with go karting, kan?
Yes.
So, when you were go karting, obviously you were going with your dad. You were picking up. You were winning. But is there a particular point in time where you reflect on now that you sort of like decided that you're going to go towards touring cars versus the track towards Formula One? Is there a distinct pathway where you choose?
Well, I mean, personally for me, like I said, ever since I was a kid, I was just obsessed with cars.
Okay.
Not so really with Formula One because Formula One to me, I mean, the racing is great.
Yeah.
The drivers are great. I mean, it's the top drivers in the world. But it's not as appealing to me because of the shape of the cars. They are not the day-to-day cars that you see. They don't relate to your day-to-day living.
Okay.
So for me, that is a point where Formula One loses out. And I am very passionate about cars. I love to work on them. I love to modify them and stuff. So for me, Super GT was always the way. So Super GT is the top Grand Touring Championship in Japan.
Okay.
So basically, it's the Formula One of Japan. There are ex-Formula One drivers racing there. And it is really interesting to me because the big brands, especially Honda, Toyota, other automotive brands like Nissan as well, they spend big amount of money trying to advance the technology of cars using the platform of Super GT. So once it works in Super GT, they will translate it into the road-going cars.
Right.
So it's a never-ending ecosystem.
Okay.
So you have Formula One drivers coming in and out, and basically level up the playing field for the Japanese local drivers. Then you also have the manufacturers, bringing the technology to world class level, and I think they are also translating it into World Endurance Championship,
Right.
which is basically the hypercars, Porsche, Ferrari, and all are competing. So
Okay.
Japanese brands are really representing Asia right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess also as a driver, obviously you become the expert driver. But
Yeah.
what I'm also reading or hearing is that the driver himself needs to know his car.
Yes.
The mechanics, how it functions, maybe in terms of tell me a bit more. What is the sort of a layman understanding about how these machines complement the driver?
Well, to me, I think to be a complete package driver, I think you need to understand the car completely, 100%. How certain things work. For example, if you're going into an endurance race, you would need to take care of the car. You can't push the car 100% to its limit every time, because the car gets tired, like the driver itself.
Okay.
And if you keep on beating on it with no mercy, with no way of taking care of it, it's gonna fail on you as well. So in order to win, you need to take care of the car as well, and the car is gonna take care of the driver. And like for example, like tires. I mean, tires is the easiest thing that you can either ruin or win the race.
Preserve.
Yeah, preserving the tires. Especially for races that only uses one tire per set, one weekend. So you have to race with that set the whole weekend, which is like 80 laps. So if you screw it up in the beginning, you're screwed from the start, and you have to fight with the screwed up tires. So it goes one to another. I mean, like you take care of the car, the car's gonna take care of the driver, and as well like preventing breakdowns, especially when because in racing, like so much can fail on you. It's all about luck. So if you can diagnose what's wrong with the car when you are on track, that's really gonna help the team. So you're just gonna pit, and then the team will know what to fix instead of pitting, and then the team has to diagnose themselves and spend more time in the pit.
Okay.
So, I mean, in every aspect, it really helps.
Yeah. Interesting. So, actually, I want to bring us back to you as a person, as a professional sportsman. And of course, you've been doing this, I mean, technically from the age of 8, and now you're 22. So that's, so many years. I mean, certainly there must have been a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
And again, when you started as a hobby, as a personal passion, but then you need to go into a routine, a professional routine where you can't afford to slip up. You have to be dedicated. Can you share a bit about this experience, and how do you maintain that level of determination and passion?
Well, I mean, speaking of ups and downs, I have a very interesting story from one of my races.
Okay.
Back in 2019, it was the third round of the Asian Championship.
Okay.
So I was in karting back then in the senior class. It was my first year in the senior class, my debut year, and we were doing very well. I won the first round. I finished second in the second round. So I had a big gap going into the championship, into the third round. I had a 40 points lead.
Wow.
Yeah, so basically I could just finish in the points every remaining rounds and could just win the championship. But as Allah, I mean, the fate is all up to Allah. And unfortunately, in the third round, in the first day of racing, in the heat 1, I had a brake failure. So I had a brake failure and I went straight into the tire wall when I was racing, around 120 kilometers per hour.
Oh my goodness.
So I thought I lost my legs because they're like I could barely stand up from the cart. The paramedics had to lift me up, take me to the hospital and all. Well, they diagnosed and I had a cracked knee, a very small hairline crack. So I was very down because I was looking forward to keep up the momentum,
Yes.
and I was very young back then. I was like 16. So the fire in me was, and then the fire got put down. When I was in the hospital, I was thinking of how could I race tomorrow, because like I can't even walk, right? I can't even carry myself to the cart. And I mean, to me, my parents came for that weekend because it was Puasa month.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was fasting month.
Fasting
Yes,
month again.
yeah. So the whole family came, and I'm like, everyone came down here to watch. I can't just go back like this. And I have a championship to fight for as well. And to me, giving up is not an option, and giving up is not in Amer Harris's name as well.
Yeah.
Because I've been through many hardships, and that's actually one of my first. I mean, it would be my first serious injury in karting. So well, I forced myself through it because I feel like if I can't help myself, then no one can. That's always my motto. If I can't help myself, then no one can. So the next morning, I forced myself to drive in the free practice. It was painful, but I could still press the brakes. So I felt like,
in spite of still recovering.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I asked the doctor to not put any like cast or wraps or anything, so I could just be free. If it's painful, I'll just get through it.
Okay.
As long as I can race.
Right.
Well, we raced. So in the pre-final, I had to start all the way back from 24th position, and I finished 9th. I made my way up to 9th, and then in the final race, I made my way up from 9th to 1st.
Wow.
So I think that's what made the headlines, because I came from the hospital bed to the top step of the podium on the next day, and like even when I was walking up to the podium, I could barely walk.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I mean, for me, if you're really determined enough, I think anything is possible.
Yeah.
Like for example, in karting, in that particular race, the adrenaline was pumping so hard that I forgot I had a cracked knee.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Amazing, huh?
Because it only came into realization when the race was over. And I had to get out of the car. I'm like, oh, I got a cracked knee. Like I can't walk up that easily, you know? But yeah, I think that's what that race really portrayed me as a person.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me what kind of a person I am, I think
it's amazing.
that race.
And I'm happy that you reflect on the Almighty.
Yes.
Because we can only do so much as human beings, kan? And with that, you are, inshallah, constantly cared for. And I'm sure your parents, especially your mom, must be quite anxious every time you drive.
They actually had an argument whether to let me race the next year or not.
I can
But I'm
imagine.
like, I got this, let me deal with it myself. If I injure myself more, it's on me.
Yeah, typical. But anyway, and I think one other point also is that behind every successful professional, especially sports professionals, you will always see that the parents are instrumental.
Yes,
Not
definitely.
even, it's not so much as, it's even giving that level of moral support and confidence that, and of course, as a parent, you obviously, in certain sports, there is a lot of anxiety, for to take care of my son or my daughter. But, alhamdulillah, you've got that behind you, like your parents can. Okay. I want to maybe ask this other question, which again, I'm not 100% familiar with the different types of cars, but you move from a Toyota, GT2 car to win driving a Porsche.
Yes.
Which, you can see from my shirt, I'm a Jaguar fan. Old school maybe.
Yes.
But, tell me, what happened? What did you have to do to adapt to a new car, and most importantly, how do you in reflection, were you able to win that talent pool competition?
Okay, so the talent pool I think started from the Hyundai and Cup, because actually the talent pool, they would open the application every year to drivers all around the world, aged from I would say 16 to 25.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyone can apply, including previous champions of the championship. So basically, when I had the assessment test with Porsche, there were drivers from Italy, there were drivers from France, there were drivers from Belgium, and they were all champions from respective countries and continents, New Zealand as well. So to me, in the motorsports world, everybody knows that the Porsche Cup car is the hardest car to drive, the hardest car to adapt to. So I kind of had a scare because I had no taste in this car whatsoever. I've never sat in the car. And I'll be driving the car for an assessment test. But fortunately, alhamdulillah, the test was held in Sepang. It was a track that I know very well. Day in, day out over there. So it was a 3 days test, and the first day was about media training, PR training. So the PR training was very intense.
Oh, it includes PR training?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the PR training would be like, they would basically they would have you down on the hotel for breakfast, right? And then someone would tap over your shoulder. It's like, can you come and sign some forms with me? So you would come and follow the person. Then someone from behind will tap your back with a mic up to your face. They're like, "Oh, what do you think about the race incident that you had just now?" Blah 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 blah. To get your reaction, to see if you're capable enough. Because some drivers will just spit out words. "Oh, this driver crashed into me." Yada yada yada. So yeah, it's that intense. I think to me, I just had to be alert the whole weekend. About what would they throw to me?
Potentially happen.
Yeah. And then the 2 days test after that would be just on track.
Okay.
So they were looking at consistency, pace, and how well you adapt to the car. I think I adapted quite well to the car because I would rather know the track. I would rather not know the car than the track because the track takes quite a long time to learn.
And you had that advantage.
Yes,
So
and also
how
I would
many
know
drivers
all the
in
limits of the
total
track.
were involved?
There were 12 drivers from all around the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are like the final shortlist maybe.
Yeah, final shortlist.
Wow.
Yeah,
12 drivers from around the world.
Yeah, and
You're
they
the
would
only
choose
Malaysian.
3 in final. Yeah.
And they will choose 3 to go to the
Yes,
2025
Yeah.
Carerra Tender Pool. Wow. And you finished top.
I finished in the top 3.
Mashallah.
They don't specify like who finished first.
Okay,
Yeah.
but still that's an achievement.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess you're at a bit of a crossroads because on the one hand, now Porsche Carrera GT2 have now seen you as a talent. They're going to groom you
Yes.
in 2025
Yep.
this year. You still have the backing of
Wing Hing
Mr.
Motorsports.
William and the team at Wing Hing Motorsports. What's your average day like then?
I think my average day is just surrounding myself with cars.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty much here mostly every week, just to work on the cars. I mean, just to learn the cars a bit more. And if they have new stuff going on, I will come and check it out and see what upgrades they have done to the car. Other than that, I'm probably at the badminton court.
Okay. But as a driver, so you are a professionally engaged driver.
Yes, with me.
So I guess you would be taking out these cars to test them.
Yep.
And so where do you? Is it always at Sepang?
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly it will be at Sepang.
Oh.
But if we have races overseas, then we would go there a week before and have a test day.
Okay.
Because usually these races are quite complicated for their like practice schedule.
Okay.
They would always like maybe close the track like 2 weeks before, so nobody can practice. Yeah, so they
Okay.
limit the track time.
Oh, I see. Okay. And again, there are other motorsports teams also, right? Who
Yes,
want to try
yes,
out. Okay. Tell me, so right now Toyota Gazoo Racing Malaysia, which is sponsored by Wing Hing Motorsports, you're their driver.
Yes.
So this,
Actually, it's the other way around. Wing Hing Motorsports runs the team for Toyota.
okay, they run the team for Toyota.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So and I guess Toyota ni pun also linked to UMW Group, kan?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing the link. Okay, now the same time, you have Porsche,
Yes.
who have their talent pool competition over the year,
Yes.
and you have maybe a Porsche car sponsor.
Yes.
Okay, where are we now? I might as well be upfront because I know this is a sport which requires a lot of money, a lot of commitment, kan? And I've been made to understand that you've secured your spot in the Porsche Carrera talent pool for 2025, the 3 of you, and you are at the stage where you are still seeking support for a party to sponsor you for this duration of the year. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And this is involving the expenses. Is it the car itself or is it expenses beyond that?
I think it's mostly expenses of running the car.
Of running the
So
car.
we've got the car.
You have the car,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We've got the car, but running the car is a very, very expensive
Okay.
process. I mean, logistically, we are going to like 5 Asian countries this year.
Okay.
So we are going to Singapore, we're going to China, we're going to Japan, we're going to Indonesia,
Okay.
Malaysia as well, and we're also going to Thailand. So 6
I
countries
see.
this year for Carrera Cup Asia only.
Okay.
Yeah. So logistically, it's a very expensive sport.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
I can
mean,
imagine.
to move the cars, to move the team's equipment, to move the
Yeah.
tires,
Yeah.
and it's always back and forth.
Right.
There's no like Japan, Singapore, and then say to Malaysia. No, it's
Yeah.
just Japan, and then you go to Thailand,
Yeah.
and then you go back to
Yeah.
China. Yeah.
And when is this all starting?
So the first round of Carerra Cup Asia will start in March, end of March.
Oh,
yeah.
so it's soon.
But I will have the talent pool training camp end of this month.
End of this
So
month already.
a month before the race, we will be preparing.
And where will the talent pool training?
Shanghai.
Shanghai. Okay, so you're going to be heading there.
Yeah, I will be in Shanghai
Okay.
next week.
So I know we do have Porsche Cars Malaysia. I'm not in depth in terms of understanding how they function. I'm sure they have drivers too.
Yes.
So would it be a situation where you'll be seeking sponsors? I might as well be upfront. You will be seeking sponsors to help you realize this year. If you win or you move on to the next stage, what then happens?
So for the next stage, if I win the championship this year,
Okay.
then Porsche will get me the drive in the European Championship next year, and I will be under their Porsche World Junior program.
Wow.
So I'll be their factory driver.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Given if I win the championship this year,
Wow.
which I am hoping to do so.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, Amir,
Yeah, yeah.
Alhamdulillah, you've got the opportunity here. Okay. And Wing Hing Motorsports is still your Toyota car.
Yes.
You're still their driver.
Yep.
So you'll be representing both ke? Macam mana?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll be representing both this year. So
Okay.
I'll be doing the Carrera Cup, and also I'll be doing the GR86 one-week
Alright.
race in Japan.
Okay.
So there will be a national championship in Japan.
Yeah.
Because I think couple of years, like these last couple of years, we've been conquering Malaysia and Thailand.
Yeah.
So the big boss says, let's take it to the big stage. Let's go to Japan
Wow.
and fight with the locals there with
Wow.
our Malaysian name.
Yeah.
Just to wrap our flag there.
Yeah.
I think we have a good shot there. I think
Yeah.
because the car that we are gonna race, I'm pretty familiar with,
Okay.
pretty comfortable with.
Yeah.
So we have a good shot, and we have good
Yeah.
support from the Japanese side as well.
Yeah.
And also we are flying in the cruise, so it's gonna be a all Malaysian
Yeah.
team, or maybe a fusion team, Malaysian and
No,
Japan.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, coming here this morning, I was quite amazed, and I mean, all due respect, I know, it's a Malaysian company. Of course, it's a Japanese car brand, but I see in the team here, you've got Japanese, you've got Czech Republic
Yes.
people, other than the local
Yeah.
team. So it's amazing.
It brings
And
the whole world together.
Yeah, and I know I really have to say, hats off to Wing Hing Motorsports for doing this, because I understand also that it's really more of a passion of the leader and owner of Wing Hing, Mr. William, who is really just doing this purely out of passion and spending a lot of money, effort, and time to realize this dream. And Amer is one of the beneficiaries of this. Yeah. Okay, Amer, I think I can only say words of encouragement. I hope that through this podcast, not only are we highlighting you as a talent, we are inspiring a next generation of professionals in whatever field that they choose, that you can be successful on the global stage. I'm also going to be upfront that this is an opportunity for maybe corporate Malaysia to come out, and we'll put out some details below on the screen when we upload this podcast. But I really feel that there's a lot of opportunity for corporate Malaysia, even entrepreneurs, individuals who feel that they can actually contribute towards the success of not just Amer Harris as an individual, but the success of this motorsport, and let it be another opportunity to be celebrating success for all of us as Malaysians. Yeah. Amer, congratulations.
Thank you.
I can only say, Syukur Alhamdulillah, you are managing to pursue a passion.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best, and I hope that, in years to come, we will continue to see all the success and accolades that you achieve. Remain firmly grounded.
Yes.
You're such a lovely young man. I can see it. You speak well, you're well articulated, it comes from your parents, so Alhamdulillah. Continue on as you are, be passionate, and inshallah your dreams will come true.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us on this episode
My
of Cuba
pleasure,
Cerita.
my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So with that, Alhamdulillah, this is what I love doing, meeting new people, and I wouldn't be here if it was not because of Cuba Cerita. So thank you too for joining us. We learned many aspects talking to Amer Harris this morning. I hope if you're out there, there's some way that you can also support what Amer is trying to do. Please reach out to the contact details that we provide. Till next time we see you, we wish you all the best, and we look forward to bringing you more interesting content as we move along for the rest of the year. Sekian sahaja. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Salam sejahtera. Have a good week ahead. Bye now.